a lot of, well, Dank Dabber's isolate, dabbing it and making your own stuff. It's just strong, good isolate.
Good.
Just CBD. Surprisingly enough, just CBD is found at a lot of vape shops and smoke shops, and they have these little honey sticks. The problem is cost on that again. They have gummies and other things that you can get it into your body, and it's good medicine. It works great. Nanocraft CBD is one I've tried. They're good, but again, pricey. CBD Living water, I stopped paying for just because, your tincture works just as good, but if people have access to like a bottle of CBD Living water or any of their bath bombs or any of their products, I'm sure are great because their water is wonderful for me. And I believe in the nano technology.
They use the nano CBD, which is similar to CBD isolate, but refined even more. So it's so fine that it's supposed to have a higher absorption rate into the bloodstream.
That's what Nanocraft is claiming too, and honestly, as a person who has chronic pain, it does help me fast.
Yes.
I just lost access to CBD water, and it's expensive per bottle, so. It
is. So what would you say, because I think that is probably one of the biggest concerns across the board for people. Insurance obviously covers pharmaceutical medications, and it doesn't cover the cost for CBD. So I think people are afraid to make the switch because then they have to commit to paying that amount every month for their medicine. So what tips would you give the listeners to help with the CBD cost, and what have you found helps you and getting your medicine at a efficient rate?
Change is always hard for everybody, and sometimes you just have to jump into it. You have to be sick of being sick. And when you really start to wonder what your pills are doing to your body versus what your sickness is doing, and then you're going to make a change. Also, I think it's what you spend your money on. People just need to remember when people tell you kids are expensive. Not really. It's just kind of like what you spend your money on, what you choose to spend your money on. So you have to have a family member willing to help you too. That's the thing with this. I was blessed with a wife who understands and believes in the medicine. She's seen me take CBD and seen the change in me. Because of that, when I go to her and we talk about income for the month and what we're going to spend on medicine, she says, what do you need for CBD? What do you need for this? And she's used to saying that. And I tell her, this month I need 100 or this month I need 300. And we discuss it. And so I think that having somebody that helps you like that is like amazing.
Right.
Okay. And then on top of that, you have to buy in bulk. You have to go directly to the company. If they take 3 weeks and they leave you on scene on Instagram and you're wondering blah, 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 then go to another company. But most of the time, these people have websites. You can order directly to them. You can DM, you can message, you can email, and they will respond within a week because they care about their business.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip because
I want to say that Pure Ratios, I had a little tiny rash on one of the patches, but I left the patch on for 4 days. Okay. I got a little rash, and I took a shower, all that stuff. But they sent me 2 or 3 products, like a tincture and a bath bomb and a patch or something, just to say sorry that I had gotten a rash, and all I did was email them and explain what had happened. And I knew I left the patch on too long, you see? So even big companies care about their product and their people and their customers.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that's a really good tip to give listeners because, if you go to a retailer, there's little that they can do price-wise. And when you go to the direct source, the company itself, they do have some leeway and probably can help you out a little bit more and provide more information for you, and even sometimes custom products too. You never know.
Especially now when things are going to just start getting very regulated and controlled. It's good to go straight to the companies.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's hard right now. I think there's a lot of stigma about the cost of CBD because people are starting to get an idea of what the wholesale prices are.
Yes.
And that's kind of a problem, but I mean, it's in every industry. Like a t-shirt, you pay $20 to $30 for a t-shirt, but it probably only costs them $1, $2 to make it. And that's just the way some of these things go. Hopefully soon, some form of insurance company can come into play and help take care of these costs. That's what I'm hoping for, that there's going to be a CBD friendly insurance company that's going to help people with this. So I think that's the only way to help with that cost, and it's expensive. Like you said, you're gonna make it work. It's something that you need.
Exactly. You're gonna invest in it, and everything else, just like anything else in life, is you find that it works for you.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you want to just chime in and add about your journey and the shift that you made from the pharmaceuticals to switching to CBD that we haven't covered yet?
I'm happy. I'm glad that I know exactly what's my body versus what's the medicine.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't had any negative side effects with CBD at all.
That's good.
And I've been searching on the internet to see if they exist, like if they truly exist for people.
Because I have found some. Have you?
High volume of CBD.
Yeah, and have you found any side effects?
No, I don't have any increased liver pain or problems. I've had a lot of blood panels and nothing has showed up bad, except for that my inflammation is staying so low that it's like showing throughout my body, but not high enough to be diagnosed. The Lupus Foundation specifically has a tier level, right? And so if people get diagnosed with lupus markers in their blood or even RA, sometimes there's like a tier to it, and you don't fall into the diagnosable category. I'm not going to stop CBD for a year to get so sick and in pain that I'll get a diagnosis because there's no point for me. Right. I don't want their medicine or their treatment for it. So until my body actually starts to break down and not work, then I'm not going to do anything besides continue the road that I'm on.
Yeah. Awesome. And if you're a listener that may not be suffering from these conditions that we're talking about today, CBD still can have a benefit for you. Like we talked about earlier, you know, we are exposed to a lot of toxins that come from our food and the air. So keeping the inflammation low in your body can prevent these conditions from happening when you get older or just in general. And the
Especially
CBD,
if you have a family of dementia and Alzheimer's. Yeah,
yes, exactly.
As much as I could.
Very good point, because the research is saying, like we talked about earlier also, that it is preventing those diseases from starting and progressing further. So CBD drops are a great way to get your daily dose. It's simply like a vitamin. Quartz Trading Co has great selection of CBD drops if you're looking for something THC free or even the full spectrum products. They're all great. So now it's time for our CBD do's and don'ts. Cara, I'm going to go ahead and let you chime in on these. What would you say is a do and what would you say is a don't in your CBD journey?
Do try as many products as you think you want to and can afford, even if it's over a slow period of time. Don't go throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars at a bunch of different companies thinking that it's going to cure your illness, because there isn't a cure. And, you know, life is long.
Yeah. Especially when you get diagnosed young.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you had a problem at all, like with lab tests, or when was that a concern for you, or has it been ever?
Lab tests?
Yeah, like when you were looking for products to try, when you were trying all these products, were you looking for their company's lab tests? Or was it?
Yeah, most of the time I was trying to see if they had a CBD milligram amount on them, and then if they were lab tested by the most popular lab in our area. Yeah.
Did you have any?
They were legit.
Did you have any bad experiences with any of these companies?
No, just that one where I had a little rash develop because I left the patch on too long. I've had CBD that doesn't work. Like I don't necessarily want to throw out the company's name,
right?
But none of their products work for me, and it could be the type of CBD.
Did they have lab tests?
No, they didn't. It didn't say anything on the back of that. It had milligram amount, but not much lab tests. No.
Okay, and so in my last podcast, that's something that we talked about, the 4 lookouts. You want to make sure you're looking for the product label ingredients. You want to make sure that you look for the amount of CBD and or THC listed in the product. And you want to look for the lab test. And then also looking for the source, so where the hemp is sourced from. This can be big because a lot of companies use CBD sourced from Europe or the bad one, Asia. And yes, it is CBD, but those countries have had agriculture grown for tons and tons of years in comparison to our American soil, which is much more rich. So those companies, you know, they could be using hemp from another part of the world, and it could have lowered the potency. And then one thing you mentioned too was that you can find the CBD anywhere right now, the smoke shops, gas stations. Those companies you want to be careful and wary of, because they may not have the lab test and they may not have the amount of CBD in the bottle that they're saying they have. So you just want to be careful when you're purchasing CBD from spaces like that. A lot of times, though, they're the bigger brands like Greenroads, which is probably one of the biggest CBD companies out there right now. CBD Origin, that's another website that I've used, and I have these 4 lookouts, but they actually made this into a list of 10. So if you wanted to go on their website, which I'll have this in the show notes too, they have a great guide and it's really detailed. So if you don't know how to read a lab test, you can go there and they'll kind of show you how to read it. And so that helps a lot. And I think that's about all we had for today. Unless there's anything else that you want to add.
Not that I can think of.
Okay, awesome. Well, then that will conclude today's show. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, and thank the listeners for tuning in. And be sure to check out the show notes for further information on the topics that we discussed.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Next week on That CBD Girl podcast, we will be talking more about who is using CBD, and they come in all shapes and sizes. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at thatcbdgirl_. And if you're interested in finding a compassionate CBD company that you can trust, go to quartztradingco.com for all your CBD needs. We've got a wide variety of products from tinctures to topicals, including bath bombs, full spectrum, and isolate-based products. And remember, take your CBD.